Willkommen to the trainer closet, where trainer secrets are revealed and tested. Individual result may vary depending on a microbiome and genome and whatever else you do. Now here's Mike, and my name is Orest, Chelsea. Now Mike, one of the probably most questions you always will get is, what supplements should I take? So what supplements would you recommend?
Well, first let's talk about that opening a little bit, because you kind of reminded me of like the creepy old men that my mother told me to stay away from when I was a kid.
You did a very bad job at that. I am the creepy old man, and you're pretty darn close to him right now, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
Okay. Let me get back in the frame. Okay. So what supplements do I take? I currently take creatine, whey protein, BCAAs, collagen peptides.
You want to tell people what BCAA is?
BCAA stands for branched chain amino acids. Amino acid is a building block of protein and hence a building block of muscle. So muscle recovery, creatine is involved in producing ATP for my muscles as well as the phosphocreatine energy cycle. And I'm trying to keep it less scientific so people can understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I try to understand what you're talking about too, but okay, go on.
I speak English.
I'm people too. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm people too.
Whey protein, muscle recovery. Collagen peptides, I put that in my coffee in the morning, and that's also muscle recovery, but collagen should have effects, at least I like to think so, on my skin, my connective tissue, and
you do need help with skin and hair, as we all
day long as a trainer. My joints are taking a beating, so the more I can take, the more I can help keep my elastic properties of my tendons and ligaments resilient, the better off I'll be. Because let's face it, by the time I'm Orest's age, I want to look better than Orest.
Now, just so I think, first off, I take creatine too, and I take collagen protein too. So these are the two things that I take. All the other stuff I do not take. Generally speaking, I think if you eat meat, which I do, you probably get enough protein altogether, and I eat relatively speaking, I eat a lot of meat. Now the collagen protein I like to talk a little bit more about is basically, I do take that because there's a amino acid that is called glycine, and apparently every human being on this planet has a deficit in glycine. What that means, you're using more glycine per day than you're actually getting in a normal diet. And therefore, you run up a deficit. And that kind of leads to, your deterioration of joints. And evolutionary, we don't need to have great joints when we're 40 anymore, because you have done your duty, you had your child, you can go on and have some joint pains. But most of us do not like them, and so therefore I think it's very, very, very important to start taking collagen protein to help out, as you said, like your achy joints. And I think there's supposedly about 10 grams of glycine we are in deficit, so the amount about 10 grams you need to take, which I do not do a good job at. Right now I'm just about taking 3 grams of that. Try to add a little bit of glycine in there in my coffee. But having said that, again, a lot of these things depend upon what they come with. So glycine depends upon which other amino acid they come with, if you can ingest a certain amount. So having said all that, so
one thing that we touched on in our last video that I think is worth mentioning here is supplements are nowhere near as good as healthy whole foods.
Thank you.
So most importantly, have a nutritional program firmly rooted in whole foods, and then add supplements on top.
Correct. That's exactly, I totally agree with you there. And then again, in this specific case, I'm a little bit different, as I said, because I believe, that makes a total perfect sense to me, that evolutionary, we didn't really need to have great joints after 40, or, most of us didn't even live that long. I guess in the last century, we just started living from 40 to 80 years old, and therefore, again, this was not necessary, and therefore this deficit that actually supposedly all vertebrates have, not just the humans, does not play a part in evolution.
And in that whole living long thing, you know, we all get caught up on like, you know, we're going to live longer if we work out. But I'm more about living good, because
yes,
living long is great and all, but the longer that we can prolong our quality of life and live well, you know, this human experience only happens once, and we have to try to enjoy it.
as far as we know.
As far as we know, and the better job you can do of taking care of yourself, the more you're going to enjoy your life. So
quality of life.
the quality of life, that's what it's all about.
Try to keep that high. Don't have joint
Yeah.
aches and pains, and that's the reason why I take collagen protein. And I used to take whey protein, but I just kind of like think I assume that I do actually get enough as is. And the whole thing with branched chain amino acids and all that stuff is, for me personally, they just basically look at what amino acids are most, you know, dominant in muscle, and that's, you know, what you know, you then put in the branched chain amino acids, and that's what's supposed to help with recuperation of, you know, muscle tissue and all that stuff. But I guess my point is, like, if I eat a lot of meat, it's muscle, ergo I have it exactly how it's in
Yeah.
nature. So there, I don't necessarily need to, and I don't like it anymore. So that's kind of, you know, I used to eat a lot of that, but now I don't.
All right. Hopefully we helped shed some light on the supplement topic. Mike.
Top topic.
Chelsea, Mr. Arrest. Thanks for
Signing
listening.
off. Comments.
See you next week.